What's up, everybody? What is up, everybody? We are here once again for another episode of the Pancakes and Powerslams Show. Once again, let's have some fun, y'all. Let's go. Yeah, let's turn this up, baby. Yes. Yeah. Come on in, y'all. You know what time it is. It is share time. Be sure to like on YouTube. Be sure to share on Twitter X. Repost on Twitter X. Share on YouTube. Let's have some fun as always. Yo, let's have some fun as always. Yeah, let's have some fun as always. Yeah, come on in, y'all. Come on in, y'all. Let's go. The psychology of stalking behavior, y'all. Celebrity obsessions. And we're going to talk about some really important things tonight when it comes to like real life stuff. I mean, you know, integrate kayfabing and stuff like that, integrate storylines when it comes to some of my classes. But yeah, this is going to be definitely a very serious subject tonight. We lounging, we having a good time here in the PMP Lounge. So come on in and repost, reshare, like on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. We're getting there. We're getting there, y'all. So keep the support going and continue to support our greatly appreciate it. Let the listeners know we got a wonderful subject tonight on the deck for class tonight. So we're going to talk about the psychology of stalking. Man, I saw that Rhea Ripley tweet come up on my algorithms a few days ago. And I said, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to break this down for people to know more about the psychology of stalking behavior. So there's a lot to talk about tonight. There's a lot to cover. So of course, hashtag AskDoc is the way to go. Hashtag AskDoc is the way to go for questions. I'll answer them after class, just like we do every single day, every single week. But be sure, if you're listening to this right now, I'm seeing there's a lot of people that's coming on right now. Be sure to hit that repost, retweet. Be sure to share it on YouTube. And let's get this stuff forward. Let's normalize four figures. I usually get a really good amount on here live every week. And so I really appreciate that. Crossed the 1,100 threshold a few weeks ago. And Leah, let's absolutely normalize that. Of course, people don't know about Pancakes and Powerslams. That is true. People don't know about Pancakes and Powerslams. So guess who's going to help them with that? You're going to help them with that. You're going to help them know more about that. You're going to help them know about Pancakes and Powerslams, because right now you are watching Pancakes and Powerslams and you are going to benefit from this class tonight. And so you hopefully are going to show your appreciation for this free class on stalking by showing your love, sharing the wealth that I'm going to give tonight, by simply hitting that repost, by sharing on YouTube, which I prefer, of course, liking on YouTube, and subscribe on YouTube. Let's continue to get those numbers up and get those likes up on YouTube so other people can know about Pancakes and Powerslams. Because guess what? There are people who don't know about the Pancakes and Powerslams show. And it's like, man, what in the world? I just sent a video to a close friend of mine from 3 years ago. And he had no clue about he didn't know about I sent him 2 videos. And he was looking for information, referral. He was looking for information. He came to me because I'm in the mental health field. He was looking for recommendations for something that he's preparing for. And I sent them some books, sent them some authors, really helped them out with a few things. And then we ended up talking more about it. He wanted me to he wanted me to be a guest and things like that. And so we're putting all that together. And so I sent him a couple of videos from like 3 or 4 years ago. And it was so helpful to him. He actually said, this is what I was looking for, the stuff that I was talking about. And he never saw it. And it was from years ago. So I don't know what's going on in the algorithms that people just don't see my work as much as I would like them to, to be honest. But I'm going to tell you something that can change that, and hopefully will change that. And that's your help, and that's your love, and that's your support of the Pancakes and Powerslams show by hitting that repost, by hitting that, by just letting people know, tag people in your post, just hit repost, quote it, tag people as many people as you can, because just like every single week, this class and every other class, very, very helpful to yes, we integrate pro wrestling stuff oftentimes, but at the end of the day, man, This is really, really healthy, really meaty stuff and really important stuff it's evergreen content, man. Really important stuff to continue for you to reference back to. And today we're going to talk about stalking. And that's definitely a very informative video that you can always come back to. So you can, if you fall victim of stalking, you can understand the mind behind somebody. And if you are someone who's struggling with this, I mean, there's a lot of people who are joining us now. If you're struggling with some of these tendencies, I'm speaking to a camera right now. There's a lot of people on the other side who's all different walks of life, and I'm praying that there's people who aren't actively doing this. I would definitely recommend that you get some help, and we'll talk about that at the end of the class. But hey, I mean, if this is something that's you're struggling with, at least tendencies of it, thoughts of it, hopefully this will help you too. Hopefully this can really be transformational as far as not you realizing that this is not a good idea. All right, so that being said, let's go, y'all. Let's have some fun. Let's continue to beef up those numbers. Like on YouTube, share on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, share your love, post people, let people know about it. Because hey, how would they know about Pancakes and Powerslams if they never heard of it? And how can they hear about it? You. I can hear about it from you. All righty, let's go. Let's do this, y'all. Let's do this. Let's talk about stalking, the psychology behind stalking. All right, stalking is defined as a pattern of repeated, unwanted, intrusive behaviors imposed by one person upon another, which invokes fear or significant distress in the target or targets. All right, so that's the backdrop academic definition of stalking. All right, of course, hashtag AskDoc is the way to go, and I'll read your questions when it comes to question time. All right, so that is the backdrop of what stalking is. All right, it's been suggested that a lot of research suggests that insecure attachment is strongly affiliated and could lead to stalking because of its contribution to the development of both borderline and narcissistic personality disorders. And so insecure attachment, when you're thinking about attachments, you're thinking about the pioneers of attachment theories, who are John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth. John Bowlby, he was born in 1908, I believe, and died in 1990, if I'm not mistaken. And so there's a lot of people who learned from their kind of overarching theories and branched it off as far as when it comes to like relationships and intimacy and things like that. Many other people in the psychology field has branched it off to different factors. But when it comes to, because Ainsworth did more as far as like breaking it down in like subsets, and John Bowlby was the one who really coined the attachment name, really. And so as far as theoretically, and so basically when it comes to attachment theories, when it comes to like the overarching umbrella of attachment theories, it has a lot to do with caregivers. It has to do with a lot of the type of attachment that you had towards a parent or parents and or caregivers as a child. And so even, I've done assessments, when it comes to attachment assessments, when it comes to secure attachment, it's like secure attachment is like the attachment style that's ideal. That's the attachment style that shows that there's a secure and healthy level of attachment when it comes to the child and his or her parents, which oftentimes lead to more secure attachments with other people growing up as an adult. And so when you have different other insecure attachment styles like fearful, disorganized, ambivalent, avoidant, anxious, like those are different fearful, and so there's different styles that causes people to not have a healthy attachment to their parents. Oftentimes abandonment, oftentimes an over attachment to people or to parents. So many different factors. Parents being too close to you. And so you developing an attachment because there was less autonomy there was like less autonomy growing up, and you had just this unhealthy attachment to parents. Abandonment is a big one when it comes to attachment issues, and that of course leads to feeling abandoned throughout your entire upbringing and even to an adult hood. And when you have those abandonment issues, oftentimes your relationships with people aren't as healthy, and unfortunately that leads to either antisocial behavior or an obsession with seeking attention. And so you have to think about those attachment styles when it comes to the psychology or the mentality behind stalking as well. And when it comes to narcissistic and borderline personality disorders, insecurity is a backdrop of both of those attention seeking disorders. Like those personality disorders, when it comes to both of them, you have a lot of times it's based on insecurity, which leads to really, really unhealthy attention-seeking behavior as an adult. So when it comes to that type of relationship dynamic as growing up, it's you have, as an adult, you have that type of unhealthy relationship dynamic when it comes to interpersonal relationships. Interpersonal relationships is your communication with others. Intrapersonal relationships is your communication with yourself. I mean, intrapersonal relationship. And both of those are oftentimes damaged because self-worth, self-esteem, it becomes more of an external contingency as far as someone who relationships is built on that. And that's very unhealthy. It's a lack of self-worth, lack of confidence, and your approval or your worth or your esteem. All of those things have external influences, and it's oftentimes primarily external influences. And so maintaining a positive self-concept is reliant on the positive attention of others, and their sense of self-worth, like I said, is externally contingent. And so this person who's dealing with these personality is dealing with these esteem or self-worth or these attachment issues. They grow up and thinking that their self-worth and their positive self-image is based on how someone else or other people think about them. So they get really sensitive. All those things are so important when it comes to insecure attachments. All right. So now, since we know that insecure attachments is really a huge marker when it comes to stalking behavior and having that unhealthy type of relationship with people, what happens is, as an adult, that insecure attachment leads to very toxic and unhealthy expectations toward people in general, and especially if the relationship is what's called parasocial. And we're going to break down parasocial quite a bit in a minute. But basically one-sided. If you're thinking of a parasocial relationship, the short version, I'll get into the long version here in a moment, but the short version of a parasocial relationship is that it's one-sided. Oftentimes, it's a relationship between a fan and a celebrity, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. And so it gets parasocial. All right, so what happens is with the parasocial dynamic, when a relationship is threatened, feelings of vulnerability and intense negative arousal occurs. So basically what happens in that is someone, and when it comes to parasocial relationships, they can get so dangerous. They really can get a lot of danger because it's very delusional. Oftentimes it really is. So what happens is the relationship that one person perceives, when it doesn't meet their expectations and they feel like the relationship is being threatened. Now, mind you, and we'll get to it in a minute in detail. Mind you, this person who has this parasocial relationship already thinks that the relationship is thriving oftentimes, or is even exists. Oftentimes, when it comes to parasocial relationships, they're fantasy. They just don't exist on the other side. But the problem is when someone has this parasocial relationship, they feel threatened. They feel like the relationship is threatened. When they feel that, they start to target the perceived threat. So the other person who they think they have a relationship with, if that person is compromising in their eyes the relationship, that person becomes a threat to them. And so what happens is they start to respond. The person who feels threatened, they start to respond with maladaptive or unhealthy coping strategies, anger, sadness, violence even, and we'll get to that here in a moment as far as just how maladaptive it can get. I mean, it can get really, really maladaptive. So basically, like misguided attempts to maintain this prized relationship that you have with this person, even to the point of punishing the perceived threat, or just a couple examples of even more examples of how maladaptive it can get. So when it comes to a sizable amount of research show that there's a connection between stalking and insecure attachment. And so basically attachment theorists would say that it comes from a lack of childhood bonding, like I mentioned before. All right. So motivations for stalking include great interaction here, and I'll get to that in a moment. Of course, again, be sure to share. Let the listeners know about this topic right now. Motivations for stalking include a delusional belief in a romantic destiny, a desire to reclaim a prior relationship, a sadistic urge to torment the victim, a psychotic over-identification with the victim, and a desire to replace him or her. Like, it can get pretty bad when it comes to why someone is motivated for stalking. And there's all types of very important theories, or like I said, there's attachment theory, there's relationship goal theory, that a lot of times people think that success and status is predicated on, like, an achievement or rise or raise success or status is achieved based on having certain relationships with certain people. And so that can be a manipulative way to kind of rub shoulders with the celebrity, or have a relationship with someone who's of a status, or who you feel is more important than you. Basically, they're a launch pad to you feeling more successful. So there's all types of theories when it comes to stalking behavior. Social learning theory is another one. When it comes to stalking, as far as just if behavior that you've seen has been very violent and assertive and manipulative, and you've seen within communities, or you've seen within people that you know, or just the environment, that you've seen, cases, and the thrill that this person had from it, and they may have told you, and that's caused you to adapt those types of behaviors. Evolutionary theory when it comes to stuff like that too, when it comes to stalking behaviors, when it comes to just as far as surroundings, environment, things like that. There's plenty of theories that compile reasons why, or motivations behind stalking behavior. All right, so let's talk about the parasocial dynamic. All right, so this is really important when it comes to stalking behavior. This is incredibly important for you to understand the parasocial relationships and how really damaging and unhealthy they can go. So I'm going to break down 3 types of unhealthy parasocial relationships. Now, let's say you really love a celebrity, and this celebrity can dress well, and that person has caused you to feel more confident about yourself. And so you basically start dressing similar to them, or it's caused you to improve your wardrobe. All right. This person doesn't know you. You don't know this person, but this person is such a huge influence in your life that it's caused you to become more confident in the way that you dress. All right. So that's me picking out of the bucket of this, a lot of the unhealthiness of parasocial relationships. I put my hand in a bucket, and I was thankfully able to pick something positive out of this dynamic when it comes to parasocial relationships. That could be a healthy parasocial relationship. Maybe you have a connection with someone who's a very motivational and the things that they speak. And then that can cause you to become more confident in yourself, for instance. So, that could be beneficial as well. So as parasocial relationships is not always bad, but it can get there for sure. And it can get there quite easily. All right. So a parasocial relationship is defined as a one-sided relationship or bonds with people you don't know, and is often connected to a fan's strong identification and sense of connection to a celebrity. And so with this type of inspiration from the celebrity, the problem with that is that it can get really unhealthy very fast, because then you start to identify yourself so strongly with this person that it really starts to blur your own sense of self-identification, and it becomes pretty obsessive. And the unfortunate part about this, when it comes to pro wrestling culture, man, yep, it gets pretty unhealthy. It gets pretty obsessive very easily when it comes to a lot of pro wrestling fans and this 2 pro wrestlers. And so Rhea Ripley sending a tweet out, which, think about that for a second. And this is celebrities, period. A lot of celebrities deal with this stuff, unfortunately. I did a video as far as just, people knowing, as far as I think it was Beyonce's mom, people knowing where she lived, and, just stealing stuff. I mean, it just gets super obsessive. I mean, it's just really, really bad. And so that person has such an insecure form of attachment that they feel like this delusion of this parasocial relationship is being affected in a negative way, they feel threatened. So they start to take action when it comes to these relationships being threatened. And so 3 types of parasocial relationships include the following. So you have what's called an entertainment social parasocial relationship. And that means that there's an interest in a celebrity one finds compelling. All right. So, if someone has a fan club, if someone's there's fan pages galore when it comes to pro wrestling. There's a fan page probably for every single WWE wrestler out there on Twitter. There's people follow fan pages, people take, put pictures of the person on a fan page. And again, you can start off with saying, I love this person. This person's great. Like any pro wrestler, any women's pro wrestler, Tiffany Stratton, she's the champ right now, the WWE women's champion. So if someone has a Tiffany Stratton fan page, they love the physique of Tiffany Stratton. It's a female, she's in college or she's a teenager or something like that. And she loves the physique of Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton's physique is inspirational to her. All right. So she loves the glitter. She loves the color. She loves the athleticism. So she starts a fan page. All right. So that is more entertainment social. But the problem with that is that the fan page and joining fan clubs on paper, very common, not toxic with just that, not toxic. However, then you start to go into more pictures. Then you start to find, start to rip pictures from her page. And even to the point of you started to see more people follow you. And then you start to tamper more when it comes to her fan pages and knowing more about her and starting to fill your fan page with more Tiffany Stratton stuff and then more Tiffany Stratton stuff. And you're doing whatever you can to be able to gain as much information about Tiffany Stratton, because Tiffany Stratton, rubbing shoulders with Tiffany Stratton, or at least thinking that other people who loves Tiffany Stratton comes to you because you have a fan page, you start to think in your head that somehow out there, Tiffany Stratton now knows that I have a fan page and it's grown exponentially. So then if I DM Tiffany, or if I start to feel like Tiffany and I are cool because I know out there she's loving what I'm doing, then it starts to get toxic. Then it starts to get unhealthy. Then it starts to get delusional, because just because you start a fan page about, Tiffany Stratton, which started, fine, which started the fact that you were just inspired by her, you start to get fed the unhealthiness of the dopamine, an unhealthy dopamine kick of people and people giving you attention. And that becomes pretty unhealthy. And the more that swells up, the more that one starts to identify themselves with Tiffany Stratton. And then it gets even more dangerous. You start to identify yourself as Tiffany Stratton. Like, it can go there. It becomes a very slippery slope with any of these, especially as we go further into the different types. This one is not, it doesn't have to be toxic. It doesn't have to be unhealthy. You have fan clubs and things like that based on celebrities. It doesn't have to be unhealthy. I've seen, pages and things like that give stats and, did you see, this person, did you see this match, and clips of matches and things like that. That can be flattering. But again, The issue that comes with that is as the page grows, as the Twitter account grows, as the fan club grows, then your attention-seeking behavior starts to get greedy, starts to get really greedy. Because again, it goes back to those insecure personality issues, tendencies, or disorders, narcissism, BPD, just to name a few. There's others that's affiliated with that too. So essentially what you're doing is you're just feeding those to want to crave even more attention, especially when they're not treated the way that they should be treated. You're just feeding those things to become more desperate for attention. And so then you start to cosplay this thing, and it becomes super unhealthy, y'all. It becomes really, really unhealthy. And so I'll be very cautious when it comes to starting these fan pages. If you have fun, start a fan page, but then you got to give yourself an assessment all the time. Like, am I seeing myself starting to get so much of appreciating the attention? So you have to think about that. Is this fan page honoring Tiffany Stratton, or is this fan page a backdoor way to get attention from people at on Tiffany Stratton's name? Based on behalf of Tiffany Stratton's name, unauthorized by her, by the way. And so you got to be careful with that. And so, if you go in with that, it's going to be doomed. It's not going to be healthy. So you got to be very careful when it comes to that. So the next one is called intense personal. It's called an intense personal parasocial relationship. So this is more about having a celebrity crush. This is the concept of having a celebrity crush. And, celebrity crushes are normal. That's a normal thing to have. And so, again, it goes back into this parasocial dynamic of it can start off normal. It can start off normal. But this obsession, this dopamine obsession, this attention-seeking obsession, this unhealthy way of trying to feed that insecure theory, that insecure attachment dynamic, again, it goes into unhealthy ways to progress this. Progressively, this intense personal, it gets bad. It gets to the point where you just can't control it. It gets to the point where it makes you become difficult. It makes you difficult with forming bonds with people, with people, within your circles, within your social groups. You're so enamored and you're so occupied. Your brain is just so occupied by this person, this celebrity, that it's difficult for you to even form bonds with people around you. And it's difficult for you to even concentrate on just daily tasks and even concentrate on things that you need to concentrate on, like family and work and school. Those are things that you need to pay attention to. But this intense personal dynamic, it gets pretty bad when, again, progressively, as it progresses. I got a celebrity crush, cool, but I'm thinking about this celebrity all the time. All the time now. I can't take my mind off this celebrity. It's continuing to be unhealthy. And I'm starting to feel that way, but now I'm at a point of no return. I'm starting to get there, but this rush of wanting to know more about the celebrity now, and following them, their every step, their every move. I'm paying attention to them obsessively on their accounts, and doing a whole bunch of stuff, researching them, knowing everything about them. It really starts to affect dynamics of close relationships and responsibilities, even from a day-to-day perspective, because you're so infatuated with thinking about this person, and your focus just goes way off. And so, again, a celebrity crush, people have them, very normal thing to do. Unfortunately, though, progressively speaking, it's feeding a beast that has been dormant and inactive. And the more that this happens, the more that you start thinking about this person, the more that you don't go to therapy and properly talk to someone about this, the more that happens, the more that you don't go to therapy, the more that you start researching, the more you continue to do that thing. That's waking that beast. You wake the beast, and then you start feeding the beast. And what happens is the beast starts to overtake you, and eventually it does overtake you, which leads us to borderline pathological parasocial relationships. This is when a person can no longer control their thoughts or feelings about a celebrity. And this, unfortunately, this can lead to stalking. This can lead to violence. And this can really start to lead to delusional thoughts of the celebrity being glad that you walked into a room, that you walked in the house. There's been interviews. I'm really into true crime because I'm a PhD in forensic psychology. And so I have a criminal justice master's degree with a specialization in behavioral sciences too. So the criminology and criminal research and things like that is something that's actually my other YouTube page is about true crime. It's about theology as well, but I feature true crime stories and give a psychological analysis of it. And so this stuff, I've looked at several interviews of people who's stalked other people, and the very fact that they thought that the person would be happy that they came, the person that they've gotten to a certain point in their obsession with this celebrity that they just get super delusional. I'm here to protect you. That's the reason why I'm here. You should be happy that I came and stalked you and came in your house, because I know that I've researched the heck out of you. You're single. You leave work, you go to the gym at 8 a.m. or just something just off the wall, which people who stalk, they know this stuff. And so that's why you have to spend more time as a person. Like routines are good, but you just have to protect that. You have to be sure that all bases are covered when it comes to certain routines that you do. And because it gets to the point that people start to know about that, who really are obsessed with you. And it gets it can get pretty dangerous. So, protecting yourself in many ways as you can, whatever that looks like to you. Those things are important when it comes to that, and just kind of break it up a little bit sometimes, and just get somebody off of the rocker and do things like that. But when it comes to these stalkers, though, they'll come to this person's home and say, hey, it's 11 o'clock. And I know it's, you have late night gym nights. And I think that, it's just safe for me to be here. And you're like, get the heck out of my house before I either call the police or shoot you or shoot you dead. Like either you choose to leave or I'm going to force you to leave or you won't be leaving here. I mean, simple as that. And so, but when it comes to many cases of this, Sonia Deville case that occurred, just a few years back, that person, a lot of them are armed. I mean, because what happens is the person oftentimes is willing to die for the celebrity's attention, or they're willing to die for the celebrity. But here's the unfortunate part. They feel like their life is meaningless now because they're not getting the attention from the celebrity that they thought they curated. That's the parasocial. That's the very unhealthy parasocial dynamic when it comes to this. They feel like they've curated a relationship. They know so much about this person. They know so much about this wrestler that they can come to their house. And let's be honest, I'm gonna keep it a buck here. I'm gonna keep it a buck when it comes to these things. A lot of this pro wrestling culture, they're really ingratiated in that type of mentality. Because what happens is you go to signings, you take photo ops. And so it's unfortunate, but it's true though, man. Someone can take a photo op, with the wrestler. And, I'm not trying to sound, scary or anything like that, but I'm giving, look, I have a PhD in psychology. I've read and researched hundreds upon thousands of hours of this stuff, leading to my dissertation and in my continuing education, as a PhD. I've read hundreds and thousands of books and articles and looked at hundreds and hundreds of hours of videos of understanding criminal minds, specifically when it comes just across the board, but specifically when it comes to stalking. This person has developed such an unhealthy parasocial relationship. And this is like a mock example, but this is an example that has so much realism to it, but I'm going to use it as a mock example, but it has a lot of realism to it. And this is the reason why I would, as a pro wrestler, I would just protect yourself. That's all I'm going to say. Protect yourself at all costs. Just imagine taking you're a celebrity wrestler, you're a pro wrestler, you're any female wrestler. You do you do autograph signings, you take photo op with someone who, looks can be deceiving, but someone who you kind of get a vibe that's a bit creepy. You can feel someone's energy and get a vibe that this person's a bit creepy. A little socially awkward. Appearance wise, unkempt, and so you could tell, and you're like, okay, yeah, you paid your money, but at the same time, it's like, sure, yeah, glad you enjoyed your photo. The problem is with that, this person has now formed a parasocial relationship with you because they think that taking a picture with them close, especially if they put their arm around you or if you're touching, each other's shoulders or arms or anything like that, it gets pretty creepy. There was a daggone Becky Lynch picture that happened a few years ago, and it was one of the absolute creepiest pictures I've ever seen in my life. And Becky Lynch is a champ. She's standing there. I've never seen what anyone is just awkward feeling in a picture in my whole life. I've never seen anybody just so just uncomfortable in taking a picture. And there's other times where it's happened too, but that's probably one of the most public ones. And that has formed a parasocial relationship. And that's the thing, that person thought that person thought that he was comfortable with doing that, possibly because of looking so much into Becky Lynch and things like that. And, look, if you're a female wrestler, nah, are you high? No, I'm not going to do that. This is uncomfortable. Y'all got to stay in y'all's ground. Here's free psychological advice, the free therapeutic advice here. Like, stand your ground. If someone's trying to do that to you, nah, man, there's no dollar in the world. There's no dollar amount in the world that's going to cause me to feel so uncomfortable to be able to have that pose with you. And so just be careful when it comes to stuff like that, because these parasocial relationships can really easily form. And that and people could, take pictures like that, and they can say, okay, well, she was a little bit flirtatious with me, and the pose show that she's into me. That causes someone to go further into knowing more about this person, because now there's a parasocial relationship. That person never thought about you a day in their life after that picture, but you think about them every day. And then that becomes super, super dangerous if that person just doesn't treat it. And you have to be honest with yourself too. I mean, that's really, if you see yourself forming an unhealthy parasocial relationship with a celebrity, like, seek help. Like, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. Seek help, y'all. Like, that's serious, and that's dangerous, man. There's no obsession with the celebrity that's that should compromise your livelihood. Rhea Ripley's posting stuff on X about people sending mail to her house. Like, where she lives, and you're sending her mail at her house. That is unhealthy. That's toxic. And that's criminal, because you're trespassing. And so you're willing to even engage in criminal behavior for the sake of protecting this delusional relationship that you formed in your head about this celebrity. And so my encouragement to anyone who's really dealing with this stuff, be open, be honest, talk to a therapist about it. Look, man, there was a psychologist. She was interviewed by I think it was Vice, and she said there's no such thing as a typical stalker. And that rings true in so many ways, because there's so many things, and there's so many there's so many thoughts that people deal with in their life that they just kind of push down and just becomes dormant, but it's just really a beast that's forming inside of you. And that's with anybody. And if you start to feed that beast with certain things that you shouldn't, you should exterminate the beast that lives in you. Therapy does that. Therapy gives the beast a name, and it exterminates it. Because what happens is, if you allow that beast that's developed and that's grown, you've birthed the beast in you by engaging in this toxic parasocial relationships and having this celebrity obsession. And then you try your best to try to keep it dormant. But the more you stay on socials, which is one of the another huge thing to avoid continuing to intensify these parasocial relationships is to take breaks from social media, y'all. Like take a break. If you see yourself getting into that, go to therapy, take a break from social media. Because if you don't, and you have these inclinations, these urges, it's just going to get worse. I mean, you're just basically feeding the beast that's in you. The beast is it's just a ticking time bomb in you. And it's dormant, but the more you look at a picture, you're teasing waking up that beast. And then you look at another picture, and you do more research, and then you start looking at the picture that's plastered on your wall more. All those tendencies, all those things starts to feed this beast even more. It starts to wake it up, because that's the first part. You've birthed it. You didn't exterminate it because it's still in you. So therefore, you start to do things that continue to wake it up. And then when you wake it up, then it becomes intimidating. Now you got to feed it. And you feed it so much, then it starts to overtake you. And that's when criminal behavior starts to take place. So I would absolutely highly encourage anyone who is engaging in this behavior, listen, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it because your celebrity crush, or, you thinking about someone and want to start a fan club, which, in and of itself isn't a bad thing. But at the same time, again, you have to check your motives at the door. You have to really assess that. You have to assess your motives. You have to, because if your motives is to get attention, finally, at the behest of some celebrity, bad motive. If you really like the celebrity and they're inspirational to you, okay, that could be positive. But then what happens is you start to get some more notoriety because you're affiliated with this celebrity. That's the reason why celebritying is just, I would just avoid it altogether. I mean, just thinking about someone so glamorously that they can do no wrong in your life. They're so idolized by you. It's just not healthy. It's just not healthy altogether, because then you start to deal with self-esteem issues because you want to be like that person, and that person is just so perfect to you, and they look amazing, and they're built amazing, and they can sing good, or they're so athletic, or they're so charismatic. The more you look at them, the more you start to lower your own personal self-confidence. And that leads to dangerous behavior too. So I would just be careful with celebrity crushes, fan clubs, fan accounts, and stuff like that. Be very careful and reassess yourself often when it comes to that. I mean, often. Reassess yourself often. Otherwise, it gets really toxic. And we see all the time what toxicity happens, the toxicity that happens in Twitter, particularly in the social media realm, in the pro wrestling realm, even to the point of Rhea Ripley having to post an X. I mean, come on, man. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. And so be careful. Be careful. There's not one single person. And we've seen stalker cases to even lead to assassinations, unfortunately. That person, had reached that type of that parasocial relationship, that borderline pathological relationship, that borderline pathological element of that relationship. They feel like they died a hero because this person, this celebrity is no good for nobody because this celebrity was no good for me. Let me down, failed, lied to me, those things like that is just it's real talk, y'all. It's a real thing. Don't let yourself get to that. So people, emailing, not emailing, but people, even, I mean, that can get pretty weird too. But sending mail to Rhea Ripley and things like that. I mean, you are the people who I'm talking to right now. It's obsessive. It's dangerous. It's unhealthy. Get help, because it's just going to get worse if it's not treated. You're already making a pro wrestler feel uncomfortable. Like, it's not worth it. You have a life. Do something about it. Or, be productive. It's not very productive going to a celebrity's house and sending them mail. Didn't think about that one very clearly. That they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so flattered that you know where I live. You're knocking on my door and you're sending me mail. I'm so flattered. Like, that's not, said no one ever, basically. That saying, said no one ever. And that's just not something that comes with the territory of a celebrity feeling okay about stuff like that. So be careful, self-assess, seek help, tell close friends that keep you accountable, and that will help you with those tendencies. And if you're a celebrity, just again, maintain your boundaries. Understand that there's creepos out here. Read the room. Just because someone's buying you, spending a bunch of money on a photo op, read the room. Doesn't mean that they can take a close picture to you. I mean, a lot of times people, again, there's certain wrestlers who are just really cool and take pictures, and they have that warmness to them because they're doing it with everybody else. And they're just nice people. But again, you can still be nice and still have the energy of, like, let's just keep this cordial with people who you don't feel comfortable after you do that just quick assessment. You just don't feel comfortable with getting too close to them. You're going to be nice. You're going to be cordial. You're going to take a picture. But again, read the room, and who amongst this bunch seems like the creepo here, and do not shake off those inklings, and proceed with caution with those type of people. All right, y'all, that is class for today. I hope that was helpful for y'all when it comes to the psychology of stalking. All right, let's hurry up and address a lot of some of these questions. Of course, patreon.com/Pancakes and Powerslams is where I'll be heading for the after party. And I'll be addressing more questions there, and anything else. We'll be doing Elimination Chamber predictions as well. All right. So with that being said, it is now time for the question cast. All righty then. All right. Hashtag Ask Doc is the way to go. Hashtag Ask Doc is the way to go. Go. Have I watched LFG? I have not. I have not watched that yet. Just clips. You're a tech wizard. My phone receives calls, but the screen doesn't light up. Any thoughts? I would suggest going to a tech company, because don't get me to misdiagnosing that. That's for sure. I know my limits, and psychology is one of them. Tech repair for phone screens is not. That is out of my scope of practice. Dion, hey bud, how are you? My birthday is Thursday. I'll be the big 52. The big 52. Happy birthday to you, Dion. Happy birthday to you, Dion. What's up, my man, Rollin? Ripley is married to Buddy Murphy. Yes. or Betty Matthews, whatever you want to call them. I don't know what it is, but once I know that a female is married, any kind of feelings of attraction completely shuts off. I salute real marriages. I salute you for saluting real marriages. Yes, it's but it's interesting, man, because a lot of times there's discussions within the social psychology when it comes to relationships that people get even stronger tendencies to pursue someone who's married because there's a sense of competition of wanting to gain the interest in that person who's already interested in other people. That's why when you see people who are pursuing like married people, they want to challenge themselves. And it's unfortunate, but it happens. The like button has been smashed. I have to remember to comment in the comment section when this live stream ends. I always forget. Thank you for commenting in the comment section. And I think everybody should do that because that just continues to improve the algorithms on YouTube. And that's the goal right now, to improve those YouTube algorithms and to be able to, let's do it, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. You remember when DDP stalked Undertaker's wife? Kayfabing, ladies and gentlemen, 101. Kayfabing. Rollin, wasn't Oscar and DeVille stalked? Yeah. Sonya DeVille, yeah. The person, the stalker was found and went to jail. Yeah. Has some jail time. It's crazy. Oscar's ex was talking about that, and then there was some updated news that are Twitter was hacked or something like that. That's again, even if her Twitter was hacked, I mean that alone goes to show that there's just weird people out here. I can't imagine putting the energy into stalking any female. Agreed. I remember when a girl called my homeboy a stalker, but she said it's an insult as persistence. And that's another thing, man. Like a lot of these marriages, these successful marriages, they started with someone being persistent. And so, I mean, do you call that person a stalker because they're persistent? No, not really. I mean, this person doesn't, not always, not automatically, I should say. I mean, not automatically you don't, because that person could be particularly, I mean, that person could be interested in you, and you say no a couple times and they win you over. But at the same time though, when it comes to that stuff, like be respectful, understand a no from a not yet, and don't be delusional to think that a not yet is impossible. Don't be delusional to think that a not yet is actually a not yet. I mean, no is no, y'all. I mean, if this person's not into you, they're not into you. And so perhaps this person says, no, I don't want to be in a relationship right now. I just left a relationship. I'm not looking right now. I'm in school, things like that. Yeah, you're just not my type. You know what I mean? Understand certain cues. Like picking up social cues is really a thing that people should really learn about tremendously when it comes to interpersonal communications. Understand social cues and learn how to pick them up. Because maybe the person's like, hey, I'm not really attracted to you. But then they're like, but then you can pick up the social cue of like, huh, I'm not your type per se. But that doesn't mean that I can't be your type if I'm not, because I'm so sweet and I'll win you over. But if it's like creepy vibes and I'm not interested, like that doesn't help. It just becomes more creepy vibes and it becomes obsessive. Roberts, the biggest problem with the IWC stalking wrestlers is airport and stepping over boundaries, sending fan mails to wrestlers' personal address. Yes, indeed. I was thinking about the Rhea Ripley airport thing where she was just flooded with people to sign, and she was just, man, she just seems so upset about that. And there's two sides of that. One side could be like, oh, you signed up for it. A celebrity is a celebrity across the board. You're getting the money to show why your celebrity is just across the board all the time. But then there's another side of like, look, you know what, man? Look, I just want to go home today. Like I just don't want to be, I don't want to be bothered with anybody. Nothing against y'all, but I just want to take a break today. And that's fair too. You know what I mean? And again, you got to say it. I mean, Rhea Ripley, I've met her. I've met Rhea Ripley. I've interviewed Rhea Ripley. I've talked to her outside of the interview. And she is, no lie. Rhea Ripley is one of the sweetest wrestlers I've ever met in my life. She is a sweetheart. So nice, so pleasant, just so inviting, so warm. And before I went live in the interview, when I interviewed her, we were chatting, super nice. There was some another area where some people were chatting. It was just me, Rhea, and a couple of Bill Apter was there, and a couple other people from WWE. And so we were just chatting, and again, just I think it was music we were talking about, and just again, pleasant, just sweet, a sweetheart of a person. But it's just like you gotta stand on business. We don't want to be bothered though, and so you don't have, look, you're probably never going to see those people again. They're going to be like, oh, Rhea Ripley was just so mean to me. But at the same time, it's like people understand, like people know sweet people. And if Rhea Ripley has a wide a reputation of just being a sweetheart, and you had a quote off day, which really isn't an off day, it's just you just didn't want to be bothered that day. Hey, look, I'd rather sacrifice this off day and have my personal sanity than be completely bombarded and having to compromise my sanity for the day. So, I mean, y'all can kick rocks. People's Wrestling Channel, The Rock inspired me to start going to the gym. Good stuff. See, there you go. That's good stuff. Av is in a building. Philip Media and guys like TMZ made more stalkers, and they say if celebrities don't want to be followed, don't be famous, crazy people. Yeah, I mean, there's some truth to that in a sense, because that's just a celebrity isms. A lot of people like it because a lot of celebrities deal with attention-seeking issues too, and a lot of celebrities like it. But at the same time, again, you got to read the room, man. If someone doesn't feel inviting, doesn't want to talk to you, yeah, don't egg it on. Don't make something out of nothing if nothing is there. Roland, I'm surprised Tiffany Stratton or Trish Stratus were never stalked. Ripley, Asuka, and DeVille don't look like the typical middle America it girl, like Stratton's status and Sable. I mean, as far as what we know, I mean, it definitely could be situations that has been private, Lord forbid, but publicly we don't know that stuff, but I'm sure people have had some thoughts. Do you think they would turn both Bianca and Naomi heel? Particularly maybe Naomi. Again, hashtag Ask Doc is the way to go. I wonder how these old stalkers of Rhea Ripley are. How old the stalkers of Rhea Ripley are. Are you more likely to become addicted to the dopamine that comes from stalking when you're younger or older? That's a really good question. So when it comes to processing dopamine intake, when your prefrontal cortex is more developed, you process dopamine better. So when it comes to like consuming things, it becomes actually worse a lot of times when you're younger because you can't really process the dopamine hits. And so you can get addicted to sweets. You get addicted to video games. You get addicted to just pop culture celebrities. And a lot of times people deal with identity issues when it comes to that because they fantasize celebrities. And so it's oftentimes better the ability of it is better processed when someone's an adult age. However, if again it goes back to attachment theories, if that person was dealing with attachment issues as a kid, oftentimes they deal with what's called regression. They go back into earlier stages of life and they process things that way. So it's just bad altogether. Is male or female double texting, triple texting, or multiple texting a female or male a form of stalking? That could be obsessive, trying to, someone wanting attention, someone wanting a response. I mean, if they know each other, someone can be adamant about getting a response. That's not necessarily. It could lead to it if there is a parasocial relationship, oftentimes, but some people are just obnoxious and aggressive when it comes to texting. So WWE ID titles, I mean, they look like tag team titles. Thank you, Classic J. I saw you went on vacation. I did go on vacation. It was wonderful. Why don't I have a fan club? I don't know. Maybe I do somewhere. If I do have a fan club, trust me when I say you don't want to test me when it comes to trying to stalk me because I come with I come with the ability to make you regret your decision. Let's make it YouTube friendly. Let's say that. Speaking of a stalking Trish, I still think Mickie James stalking Trish Stratus is a celebrity crush turn, subtle romantic crush turn, scoring stalker's greatest woman storyline ever. Definitely caused her to become very famous. Yes, I've known men who get some kind of strange feel from pursuing and conquering a married woman. Pursuing single women is challenging enough for me. Pursuing married women is insane to me. Yeah, I mean, people love it though. Never heard of Christina Grime. Again, hashtag Ask Doc is the way to go. If I looked that up, I think because I've seen so many stories that I don't remember. Oh yeah. I'm familiar with this. I'm familiar with this. Yep. I am familiar with that. She was a singer. Yeah. Yep. There's plenty. There's a lot, unfortunately. All right. I gotta go, y'all. Ask Doc is the way to go. But hey, for more questions, go over to Pancakes and Powerslams Patreon, patreon.com/Pancakes and Powerslams. And let's go. All right, so we're about to go over to the Patreon again. Patreon.com/Pancakes and Powerslams is the way to go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the continued support, y'all. Continue to support. I'm just amazingly grateful of all the support for PNP. Continue to support by hitting that like on YouTube, letting people know about this. Y'all had a class on stalking. Takes a lot of time and effort and research and going back into archives and all that fun stuff as far as put a lot of work and giving y'all this content. So I'd appreciate if you show some love by subscribing on YouTube to be able to share it. If you like what you saw, again, continuous weeks of people coming on the show, staying, and it doesn't ever drop. It doesn't. The content is interesting enough for people to stay consistently. This show never drops viewers, and so thank you. I'm humbled by that, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you so much for that, and I really appreciate that. Show your love by liking on YouTube, commenting on YouTube, subscribing on YouTube, and reposting this on Twitter, y'all. So thank you so much. Until next week, enjoy your week of wrestling. God bless. I'm headed over to the after party for a little bit, and we will see you there. Have a good night, everybody. I'll do it for you. Solo.